Hello, language learners. My name is Olga.nestel, and this video is for those of you who struggle learning English or any other language. If you start learning, give up, forget what you have learned, start again, give up again. If you can't understand why it is so hard for you to learn a new language, if you can't understand why you progress so slowly, this video is for you. I will give you the 10 most common reasons why people don't progress in their language learning. At the end of this video, you will be able to find a checklist which will help you to organize your learning better, efficiently, and in a more enjoyable way. So let's get started. And our first reason is motivation. We are used to thinking about motivation as something that is stable and consistent, but it's a very wrong perception. Our motivation to learn a new language is tightly bound to our other duties, opportunities, needs, goals, wishes, desires. And people usually don't think about it when they start learning a new language. It doesn't mean you should sacrifice something that is important for you. You just should adjust your language learning to your lifestyle, interests, and needs. I'll maybe make a separate video about motivation with some tips how you can do it. Reason number 2, the discrepancy between your goals and actions. What do we usually do when we learn a foreign language? We do plenty of grammar exercises, memorize vocabulary, write essays, but is it really our goal? Probably not. Our goal is to be able to talk to people in this foreign language. It must be seriously confusing for our brain. We put a very big effort into something that is not our goal. Does it mean that we can start communicating in a foreign language without learning its grammar and vocabulary? I don't think so. So, what can we do to reduce this discrepancy? First of all, we can start communicating with the minimum of grammar and vocabulary, and we can change our way of thinking. Don't think I should learn the past tenses. You can think, I would like to be able to talk about something that happened to me yesterday, last week, a month ago, a year ago, several years ago. Very often, the discrepancy between our goals and actions is caused by the fact that course you attend doesn't correspond with your goal, topics and tasks are not interesting for you, teaching methods are not efficient. Sometimes people learn a foreign language by themselves and they choose tiring, boring, time-consuming and inefficient techniques. Sometimes they memorize words one by one from a dictionary. They read English classics when they are just beginners. But even if their ideas are not as bad, for example, they watch videos on YouTube, they do grammar exercises. This is very useful, but the very common mistake is that people don't realize that input is not enough. And that is our reason number 3. Frankly speaking, some language theories say that input is enough. Maybe if you have very good language aptitudes, input will be enough for you. But it is definitely not enough for the majority of people. Language learning is a very complex process. It has many stages: processing of information, coding, restructuring, output. Some of these stages have sub-stages, and if you omit one or two of them, your learning will not be efficient. I will maybe make a separate video about the process of second language acquisition. Our 4th reason is our knowledge is not the same as our skills. You may notice that even if you do many grammar exercises, you still make mistakes when you speak. To transfer your knowledge into your speaking skills, you should practice it in communication and better in real life situations. Lack of communication is the 5th most common reason why people don't progress in learning a foreign language. Plenty of experiments and papers showed that communication enhances language learning significantly. Social interaction is called a gate to language acquisition, and that is not an exaggeration. We are social creatures. That is something that it is coded in our biology. Brain research showed that interaction arouses our attention. It activates the brain mechanism linking perception and action. That is exactly what we need to transform our declarative knowledge into our speaking skills. So you don't have any person around you who can't understand you in your native language. So what could you do? Some YouTube videos suggest talking to a mirror, recording yourself, using virtual assistants like Siri, speech recognition programs. It may help, but I think real people are much better than Siri or than recording yourself. You should build your own community of English speakers. I will make a separate video about this with tips how you can do it. It's really very easy in our digital global world. Okay, let's go to our reason number 6, lack of feedback and reward. When we put a great deal of effort into our actions, we want to see the result we have achieved. In the case of language learning, this result is the ability to communicate with other people. But what result do we usually get? The score of our last test. Is it exciting? Not really. You may get your reward in a year, 2, 3 years, when you pass your IELTS test or when you get the job you wanted. But it's a very long time to wait. People want results and rewards quicker. Talking to foreigners gives you this feeling of success and satisfaction. You also can arrange small rewards for yourself, or you can write your language journal and record your progress, success, and your feelings. We do not take our feelings into account when we learn a foreign language. Usually we don't do it, but it's a serious mistake. And that's the reason number 7, why your language learning is not efficient. Your feelings are not engaged. Your feelings are important. They are related to all key factors of language learning. If your learning is pleasant, you are highly motivated to continue it. You memorize much better. Many invisible barriers to language proficiency are created by boredom and negative feelings. Many learners and even teachers think about language learning as something that is like a formula. Do this and that, and you'll get a result. If it does work for you, it's perfect. Stick to this way of thinking. But for many people, it doesn't work. What can you do in this case? First of all, you can stop thinking about language as a set of grammar rules and long vocabulary lists. Language is about words and tenses and endings, but first of all, language is about you and the world around you. Language is about everything. A good news is that you can learn language when doing anything, including the things you are passionate about. You may learn something very important for you, talk to very interesting people. You can express yourself through a new language. You may think that it's impossible to do before you become a proficient language user, but in fact, it's very easy to do even when you are on a basic level. For example, you can share your photos with short notes in the language you learn. You can post them in social media. We live in the age of memes and short sentences. Personally, I'm not very happy about it, but it gives you an opportunity as a language learner. And this reason is tightly bound to the reason number 8. You struggle because your personality is not engaged. In fact, it's very understandable. A foreign language is something unfamiliar to us. It pushes us out of our comfort zone. Our brain doesn't like unfamiliar things. It seems it's related to the fact that all biological creatures see familiar things as safe and unfamiliar things are associated with a potential danger. You may feel that you sound ridiculous in the language you learn, especially if you speak in public. You might be embarrassed how many mistakes you make. It's not a comfortable situation. So, if it is difficult to make a foreign language yours, what actually can we do? We can immerse ourselves in a new language gradually. And we can link it to our interests and our identity. If you like cooking, start searching for new recipes in this language. If you like sports, start watching sports events. If you like traveling, start sharing your experience in a blog. Don't overwhelm yourself. Do one step in a time. And you'll realize that gradually you start feeling more and more comfortable. And the most important thing, you will use this new language in a real life situation. That is exactly the reason number 9 why people do not succeed in their language learning. The reason why many people struggle and are frustrated is because they don't use the language they learn in real life situations. Psychology says that language acquired in a certain situation is not automatically transferred in other situations and circumstances. That is exactly what happens to many people. They learn a foreign language in a classroom setting. Sometimes they have been doing it for several years. Then they meet a native speaker and can't say a word. If your language usage is limited to a classroom, it may happen to you. So try to expand your language learning out of the classroom. Language is about you and about the world around you. Take this responsibility on yourself. That is exactly the last and 10th reason why people slow down in their language learning. They don't take responsibility for their language learning on themselves. It doesn't mean that teachers are useless. It just means that you shouldn't be a passive doer of the tasks that are given to you by your teacher. Plan your learning strategically. Engage your emotions and creativity. Organize a group of speakers. Create your blog. Write your learning history. Provide your learning journal. Link your learning to your hobbies. Just do and plan and be in charge of your language learning. So, my checklist, tips that help you to improve your language learning, to take it to the next level. Manage your motivation. Set up long-term goals, but also short-term goals. Build your own network of English speakers. Engage your personality, your feelings, and your creativity. Transfer your knowledge into skills. Arrange feedback and rewards. And the main thing, take responsibility for your language learning. Thank you very much for your attention. If you want to book a lesson with me, here are my contacts. Besides English, I also teach Russian and Polish. Thank you.